Good morning, dear students. This is Sampath Padhu, Assistant Professor of English, Government College, Sri Dungargad, Bikaner. Today, we are going to discuss Oliver Goldsmith's essay on national prejudices. This national prejudices is a very important essay of Oliver Goldsmith. Oliver Goldsmith was born in 1728 and died in 1774. He was an Anglo Irish novelist, playwright, and poet who is best known for his novel, The Vicar of the Wakefield, and his pastoral poem, The Deserted Village, and his plays, The Good Natured Man and She Stoops to Conquer. He is basically known as the citizen of the world. The national prejudices. In this essay, Goldsmith talks about prejudices which people have about other people from other countries. They consider their own nation good in every respect and think that other nations are not as great as theirs. People no longer consider themselves general inhabitants of the globe or members of that grand society which comprehends the whole humankind. Dear students, through this essay, National Prejudices, Goldsmith tries to establish a cosmopolitan attitude that we are the citizens of this globe and we should not be divided by narrow mindedness, divided by mean walls. We should consider as the entire humanity our brethren. We should not be prejudiced about our own country or to the country to which we belong. All the people from all the nations should be respected, regarded, their culture, the civilization, the manners, language, the rituals, tradition, customs, everything should be regarded, should be given due credit. We should not be prejudiced. Prejudice is a kind of pre notion, or we can say preconception, without knowing the facts. When we when we conceive or when we make a notion about someone or something of which or of whom we don't know anything, that is known as prejudice. Without any facts, we make our opinion. We make our opinion, which is hypothetical, which is not based on facts, and we become biased. That is prejudice. So we should not be prejudiced about the people of other nations. All the people across the world are good enough. They are as good as we are. But through this essay, National Prejudices, Goldsmith advocates that we people are prejudiced about our own country. Indians prefer themselves. Britishers prefer themselves. Japanese prefer themselves. French do their own. Americans do their own. Means Americans consider themselves superior. Britishers consider themselves superior to others. So such type of mean feeling, such type of prejudice should not be there in human hearts. Rather, we should value, we should consider, we should give importance to every human being. Let's discuss Oliver Goldsmith's essay, National Prejudices, is the writer's own personal opinion regarding the people of Europe. This essay is about the stereotypes that we have towards people from other countries. Prejudice is an unreasonable and unjust feeling that has grown in us over a period of time. To some extent, every common man has a bias. Bias. That bias means partiality, partial attitude. The writer is one of the wanderers of Europe. He was given the opportunity to observe closely the characters of the Europeans. Suddenly, he reached a group of half a dozen gentlemen who were making who were who were making a hot political dispute. They were equally divided, expressing their feelings. Each group was trying to convince the writer to support and share the conversation. He had been engaged in one of the companies that talked about the different characters of a number of nations in Europe. One of the gentlemen of England showed his prejudice over the people of other nations. He said that the Dutch were a bunch of greedy wretches, the French were flatterers, the Germans were drunkards, and the beastly gluttons. The Spaniards were proud, haughty, and rude tyrants, but in all other aspects, English were brave, generous, merciful, and virtuous. Almost all the participants agreed with the opinion, but when the writer was asked to express his feelings, he gave them more impartial judgment. He said that the Dutch were more frugal and industrious, the French were more temperate and polite, the Germans were hard and patient in labor and fatigue, the Spaniards were sober and peaceful, but the English were, at the same time, rash, headstrong, and impetuous. Wonderful. When the writer made such a judgment among his friends, they began to see him with a jealous eye. Then the writer came to know that it was in vain to contend with a man full of national prejudices. So he went back home thinking about the absurd and ridiculous nature of national prejudice. To the writer, philosophers regard a man of any country as a citizen of the world. They globalize all and have no regional bias, unlike the narrow minded English gentleman who only thought about the particular country or a small society. The writer says national bias or prejudice is infecting our minds and affecting our behavior. It makes us obscene, disgusting, and proud of ourselves. We will love our nation, but without prejudice towards other countries' people. It says that the essence of faith is just like superstition and excitement. What he says? That the essence of faith is just like superstition and excitement. So we should be the world's people, not the resident of a single nation or, or small community. He prefers the term a world citizen to that of an Englishman, a Frenchman, a German, a Spaniard, a European, or so on. The essays about the narrator's encounter with some elderly people and a conversation about nationalism. He starts off by stating that he was drinking at a bar and was drawn into a conversation held by a group of elderly men about political affairs when one of the men stated that the English were better than the Dutch, the Germans, the French, and the Spaniards. He praised the English for their bravery, generosity, mercy, and other virtues. When asked for an opinion, the narrator decided not to talk as he was sure of contradict that statement, while the rest of the group agreed with the man. When directly asked, the narrator had to speak his thoughts reluctantly or unwillingly. He could not make such a broad statement about the characteristics of the other European nations unless he has made the tour of Europe and examined the manners of these several nations with great care and accuracy. The narrator goes on to say that perhaps a more impartial judge would not hesitate to affirm that the Dutch were more frugal and industrious, the French more temperate and polite, the Germans more hardy and patient of labor, and the Spaniards more sober and composed than the English, who undoubtedly were brave and generous, but at the same time rash, headstrong, and impetuous, and too apt to elated with prosperity and to despond in adversity. He quotes a philosopher who says that we should not be countrymen, but we should be citizens of the world, meaning we should view ourselves as inhabitants of the entire globe or the world, not of a certain part of it. If these prejudices prevail among the meanest and lowest of the people, they might be executed or excused because they get few opportunities of correcting them by reading, traveling, or conversing with foreigners. But the misfortune is that they infect the minds and influence the conduct even of our gentlemen, even of our educated people, highly educated ones. The mark of a gentleman is that he should be free from national and other prejudices. There are some who are most apt to boast of national merit. It is just like a vine which twists around a sturdy oak for no other reason in the world because it has not strength sufficient to support itself. The essay concludes with saying that it is okay to be proud of one's own land and country, but that should not stop us from thinking outside the box. Narrowing our minds won't make anything useful. Instead, try to be a citizen of the whole world without the need to hate others. Dear students, this essay was first published in the British magazine in August 1760. Goldsmith argues that it is possible to love one's own country. There is no issue, no problem to the writer that someone loves his own country. Yeah, of course, we should love our own country. But we should not hate other countries too. We shouldn't hate or dislike or despise others. We should love our country. We should feel patriotic. We should respect and regard our country. No doubt. And no problem. But we should not hate others. We should not dislike other countries. We should have a broad mindedness, a broad minded attitude. Then only we will be considered as gentlemen. Goldsmith argues that it is possible to love one's own country without hating the nations of other countries, or natives of other countries, or the nations of the other world. It is good that people have good opinions about their own countries, but at the same time, they should not think in negative terms about the people of other countries. We should not pass judgments about others without meeting these people. We can understand others only when we live with them. Of course, we come to know through the author that there is no doubt that the English, who are brave and generous, are at the same time rash, headstrong, and impetuous, too elated with prosperity, and too despondent or disappointed or hopeless in adversity. On the other hand, the Dutch are more frugal and industrious, the French more temperate and polite, the Germans more hardy and patient of labor and fatigue, the Spaniards sober and composed than the English. People should not think at the national level, but should think at the global level. They should consider themselves citizens of the world. Dear students, such type of essays have a very wide impact upon the minds of the readers. After reading this essay, after going through this essay, we form a different kind of opinion. We feel ourselves different human beings. Simply because prior to reading this essay, we were feeling that we Indians are better than the others. We Britishers are better than the others. We Japanese, Russians, Chinese, we are better than others. But after reading such a great stream of thoughts by such a global writer as Gordon Smith, we come to the conclusion that we should feel ourselves as the citizen of the world. We should not be fragmented with the domestic walls. As Rabindranath Tagore says in his famous poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear, that we are divided into fragments through domestic walls. We should not be mean and low in our thinking. Thinking is the greatest thing in this world. So, Mahatma Gandhi also said, have a great thinking. We should have a broad mindedness with regard to citizenship. We should not be prejudiced about the others people, other nations. Until or unless you visit someone, you experience the behavior of others, how can you conclude about their conduct? How can you make a radical judgment about someone's behavior without knowing them properly, without having been in their company? How can you judge? It's quite true. So let's have a broad thinking. Let's be the citizen of the world. That's all for today, and have a nice day. Thank you.